My name is Anuscheh Farahat. I'm a professor of public law, human rights law and migration law at the University of Erlangen-Nuremberg and a fellow here at the Max Planck Institute for Social Anthropology. Since March 2023, I'm leading a research group here at the Institute on just migration, and it's in essence about labor migration regimes in transnationalized context. The idea of this research group is that currently the European Union is seeking to attract more labor migration to the European Union. And of course, there is a lot of legal regulation on the European level. However, we understand still very little about how this labor regulation actually impacts the life of migrants, how it affects migration decisions, and how it affects also the situation of countries of origin. So the idea of this project is that we use anthropological research to increase our knowledge about how the law functions in reality, so how it impacts the life of migrants, and how it shapes decisions about migration. One of the interests of the project, in addition to talking about lawmaking, is to understand how migrants actually use labor migration law, how they navigate labor migration law, and what other spheres of law intersect with what we typically perceive as labor migration law, namely the law about residence. So when talking about other parts of the law, one could consider social security law, labor law, family law, things like that. So our interest is to understand how migrants navigate these different types of law in order to build their labor migration careers. And ultimately, the interest of this research project is to really translate the insights of other, mostly social science research about how migration actually unfolds into legal research. So we're interested in the agency and the capability of migrants, which in the social science research is considered to be the core driver of labor migration. So the idea is really to translate this discourse into a legal discourse in order to better understand how the law impacts reality, but also to get a critical lens for analyzing the law. And on the other hand, we think that by doing so, we can also contribute something to anthropological research by taking law as a social practice seriously and also better understanding and more accurately describing the rationale of labor migration law as such and how it intersects with other spheres of the law, but also with the social aspirations and the agency of migrants. The research group consists of myself and two PhD researchers, Angelica Kokoma, who is working on the agency of migrants, in particular in the context of female migration in the tech sector to the European Union, and Katharina Ebner, who is working on legislative processes in the field of high-skilled migration and the extent to which migrants' interests and countries of origin's interests are taken into account in these projects. My own research in this project focuses mostly on two aspects. One is privatization of selection processes in labor migration law and how that impacts, on the one hand, the agency of migration, but also more generally speaking, the agency of private actors, that is also employers, and how it affects the issue of legal remedies, security, legal certainty for labor migrants. And the other one concerns the role of the International Labour Organization and how labor migration became an issue of the human rights discourse in the International Labour Organization and how international labor law and human rights law interact in that respect.